This video is all about the hypocrisy of a club who claim they're skint and need government bailouts being rich enough to turn down £200 million for one player from another club. That's what the video's about. Excuse this rough edit. I basically didn't press record and I've been talking to myself, so I'm just going to patch it. I've had to redo the intro. This is the intro. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. You're probably going to be infuriated by the video because, as I say, it's utter hypocrisy. What I didn't expect was to be provided with a conveyor belt of car crash stories by football itself. I've always known football was a little bit deluded. I've always known football operated in a bubble. I didn't expect it to come out of this smelling of roses. But very much at the start, I thought we're all going to miss our football so much, we will be delighted to go back to it. I still think that's the case. But I look at it now and think, where's your PR? Who's advising you? Why are you making all these ridiculous decisions? Where's the guy with the common sense? Where's the guy in a football club who knows how the man on the street feels? Or not on the, you're not allowed on the street, don't go out on the streets, whatever you do. So today, another one has come up, and there's a little bit to this story to give it a little bit of context. So let's go back to, I think it's about 10 days ago. Jamie Redknapp did an interview with Harry Kane on Instagram, and it was a Q&A. So Harry Kane got asked a number of questions. One of the questions was about his future. He turned around and he said, I love Spurs. I will always love Spurs, but it's one of them things. I've always said, if I don't feel like we're progressing as a team or going in the right direction, I'm not someone just to stay there for the sake of it. He says, I'm an ambitious player. I want to become a top player. You've got to be top. You can't just be top. You've got to be top. The top is to the top, the very top. He wants to be a top player. So it all depends on what happens as a team and how we're progressing as a team. So it's not a definite, I'm going to stay here forever. But it's not a no either. I mean, he's hedging his bets. I understand, I'd take the mickey, but I understand what he's done there. But he's very, very clear in what he says. Which is, if the team aren't doing well, I ain't staying. I'm ambitious, I want to win some stuff. So I can't commit to Tottenham Hotspur. That's the first part of the story. The next part of the story is that Daniel Levy, hot on the heels of his £3 million bonus, taking his annual salary to £7 million, announces that Tottenham Hotspur, who the previous year had announced £113 million profits, that Tottenham Hotspur were going to ask for the government bailout scheme to pay for their lowest paid members of staff. The narrative was quite clear. We're struggling. Football's struggling. We have no matches. There's no income coming in. There's no revenue. We can't get any money in. So what we need you, the government, to do is to pay our lowest paid members of staff. We need you to pay the catering staff. We need you to pay the stewards. We need you to pay the cleaners. We basically need you to pay everybody at Tottenham Hotspur that ain't part of the playing staff. There'd been no club incentive to reduce the wages. Harry Kane kept his 200 grand a week. Dele Alli keeps his 150 grand a week. But what we want the government to do, they're saying, is we want the government to pay the £9 an hour people. 550 staff. They're saying it's clear. We've had 550 staff. We can't afford to pay them. We need the government to pay them. Now, this is bailout money. It's really money that doesn't exist. We're lucky. We've got our own currency. We've got the Royal Mint. We've got the Royal Bank of England, right? And we're printing money to get us out of this current crisis. Spurs have said we need some of that money. We don't have any of our own. Okay, so that's the narrative there. We then go on to the next stage, which is, if you remember, I did a video on it. It's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is saying, very different to Tottenham. He's saying, we are financially really well off. We're an established brand at Manchester United. We're a rich club. We've got loads of money. Remember that old Harry Enfield character, loads of money? They've got so much money that they're going to look at the fallout from football. They are going to look at who is struggling. And then what they're going to do is they are going to, and I use his words, and I will do the inverted commas, exploit. Manchester United are going to exploit clubs who are struggling financially. Now, of course, when I did my video, it was very much a case of, well, I wonder if it's clubs that are going out of business and stuff like that. We know their tactics. We know what they want to do. He's not even tried to disguise it. There's very much said, we're going to be ruthless here. If you're struggling, we're going to go and take your player. We're going to take him for cheap. That's what we're going to do. So, those are the three component parts of the story. Harry Kane said he's up for leaving. Tottenham say they're skint and need government money to pay their staff. And Manchester United say they had loads of money, so they're going to go and take advantage. Now, obviously the three link up. And as it looks today, I think it was actually yesterday, Manchester United have been linked with a £200 million bid for Harry Kane. The planets have all aligned, haven't they? Those three stories have all come together. But there is one additional piece of news which we add to this. And it is that Tottenham have come out. What are we? 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock on Monday. Tottenham came out a couple of hours ago and said, we are not selling Harry Kane for 200 million quid. Harry Kane will not be sold. And it's that bit that has annoyed me. Do you know why? Because Tottenham Hotspur, you can't. You can't say no. You are not in a position to say no. Tottenham have basically just become that bloke that owes you 50 quid and didn't pay you back last month, hasn't paid you back this month, but he's still managed to book a holiday to the Bahamas and he's out in a pub every night getting rounds in and doing shots. I mean, where's my 50 quid, mate? You said you were skint, you can't pay it back. This is the equivalent of that. It's poor me, poor me, poor me. Give me some government handouts. Give me some money. Basically, it's the football equivalent of benefits. They're basically saying, give me benefits, but we're not accepting 200 million for him. Well, they both can't be true. You've either got no money and no income stream. That's the whole point. Remember back, they have no money coming in. There's no way we can generate any money. We've got to furlough our staff, 550 of them. Well, hold on, Tottenham. There's a very, very clear way that you can get some money in. A very clear path. Manchester United, who by their own admissions are minted, have got 200 million to buy your star striker. Of course, it works out for Harry Kane as well, doesn't it? Maybe you might argue that Manchester United are no closer to winning trophies than Tottenham. But that's talking in the language of the old football. In the language of the football of the here and the now. Tottenham are skint, right? Is that right? Because it couldn't possibly be, could it, that Tottenham aren't skint? That Tottenham are just furloughing their staff because they can? Because there is an option there for them not to have to pay for their staff. And the government pay for them. I mean, these staff, the cleaners aren't going round sweeping up Whitehall, are they? They're not going to sweep up government offices. We're basically getting the government to pay the Tottenham Hotspur cleaners to clean the Tottenham Hotspur stadium. I understand. There is a certain element of hypocrisy, which is easy for me to say. So a West Ham fan complaining about money being taken from the taxpayer. But I didn't ask to be in this situation. I've already done a video stating how ludicrous it is that the taxpayer has to shell out for a stadium that's making a loss. We dealt with that yesterday. We dealt with that today. This is about Tottenham Hotspur. Could it just be that actually there's plenty of money there? They're just choosing not to use it. They're just taking advantage of the situation. They're just playing the system. Well, I do wonder how Tottenham are going to come out of this at the end. And I do hope that people's memories along, not just for Tottenham, but for football. Hopefully one day we all go back to our lives, we all go back to work, we all go back to supporting football, we all go back to watching football. And it's very easy when things go back to normal to forget what's gone on here. It'd be very easy to, particularly if you don't personally know anyone that's lost their lives, you don't personally know anyone that's worked in a hospital, or any of that sort of stuff, it'd be very easy to go back to normal. But I do hope memories are long with this sort of thing. I do hope that clubs like Tottenham Hotspur, that clubs like Newcastle United, and I don't mean to dig out the fans here, I'm talking about the way the owners have acted, that it is not forgotten, that these people are dug out for the way that they have played and fiddled the system. Make no mistake about it. They are rich enough that they can turn down £200 million. They said, no way, there's no way, we ain't accepting it. No money as well. In fact, it's not even it wasn't a case of, oh, okay, if you give us 210, we might be able to accept it, and we can, we can safeguard our future, we can pay off some of the stadium, we can pay our stuff. No, it was no amount of money. It was a very much, we are not selling to a domestic rival. Well, you can't afford to say that. You cannot afford to do that. You cannot afford to be picky. And I have no doubt, because this is a play into the system, if this was the man on the street and he got called into the benefits office and they said, hold on, you're accepting benefits off of us. Yeah, somebody's offered you £200 million for your pinball machine. Why are we even paying you? It's morally bankrupt, and I'm sick of it.